Ssangyong's Korando has previously been something of a fringe player in the value reaches of the mid-sized SUV class, but this Mark IV model aims to edge into the mainstream. It's well equipped, rather smart, and can tow up to 2 tonnes. Plus, it's still better off-road than its rivals, and comes with the industry's most complete warranty. It all sounds rather promising.
If the Korando is to go mainstream, it must have mainstream appeal. And you can see at a glance that evolution of this model line towards that end has continued here. That'll be evident the first time you drive this 4th generation Model 2, though something of the previous car's sturdy feel remains, certainly enough to please its core market, who will prefer the diesel version we're trying here over the more affordable 1.5 GDI turbo petrol variant. The diesel in question is now 1.6 litres in size, but it can still tow a couple of tonnes, as much as the previous 2.2 litre diesel model could manage. Most other comparable models in this class can tow no more than around 1.6 tonnes. As you'd expect, this more modern black pump fueled unit is quieter and more efficient than the power plant it replaces. You only really hear it under heavy throttle loads, while the running cost figures, a WLTP rated combined cycle, fuel return of 48.7 mpg and an NEDC rated CO2 reading of 144 grams per kilometre, are now class competitive with comparably capable rivals. This 4th generation Korando is better to drive than its predecessor too. Yeah, the firm ride can sometimes get slightly unsettled by low speed bumps on poorer surfaces, but that's because Ssangyong has intentionally chosen a slightly firmer setup to reduce body roll through the bends. And that's paid off. Aided by its freshly stiffened chassis, this car now flows from corner to corner with real poise, making cross-country journeys far more enjoyable. Transmission and drivetrain options with this model depend on the engine selected. The 163 horsepower 1.5 litre petrol variant can be had with either manual or auto transmission, but only with 2-wheel drive. The 136 horsepower 1.6 litre diesel can be had with 2 or 4-wheel drive, but only with a 6-speed auto gearbox. So it's the diesel you'll want if you'll be occasionally venturing off-road, where the Korando continues to feel much more at home than obvious segment rivals. More important, though, is the way it'll be able to cope with the urban jungle, hence the addition of a whole range of camera-driven safety features to this 4th generation model. This is easily the best-looking Ssangyong model to date, which is important in a class where the majority of buyers cite style as the #1 reason for purchase. Remove the bodywork here and most would guess at an established volume brand, which is exactly what the Korean maker was aiming at. As with other modern Ssangyong designs, the key brand identifier is the so-called bird's wing themed styling of this front end, which sees this silver upper grille bar arching down beneath angular headlamps that feature LED multi-reflector beams on top models. Chiselled bonnet character lines, 3 horizontal chrome slats across the lower intake and vertically stacked LED front fog lamps complete the effect. At the wheel, the cabin is of a much higher quality than you might expect. It's dominated by gloss black trimming, which on top models like this one is embellished by classy, multicoloured infinity mood lighting. Continuing the sophisticated theme is the Blaze cockpit screen package that's offered at the top of the range and on selected lower spec models. This links an 8 or 9-inch centre dash infotainment display with a fully digital, customisable 10.25-inch digital instrument cluster, which can be configured to show full-screen mapping. The centre monitor includes Apple CarPlay or Android Auto smartphone mirroring, and the usual DAB audio and Bluetooth functions, plus there's navigation and a reversing camera at the top of the range. Finding a comfortable driving position is reasonably straightforward thanks to a decent amount of seat and wheel adjustment, and there's plenty of storage space around the cabin. Right, let's move to a part of the car that we think might really sell it to you. The rear cabin. This is the only car in this class, premium brand models included, able to comfortably transport 3 fully sized adults on the back seat for any distance. Long journeys are helped by the fact that the seat backs recline by up to 32.5 degrees, which will further aid headspace for really tall folk. It's this rear seat space that could well tempt buyers of Sangyong's smaller Tivoli crossover model into this larger Korando, and the same applies when it comes to luggage room. Once the tailgate has completed its arthritic perambulation upwards, a very decently sized 551-litre space is revealed. That's a floor-to-ceiling measurement. With both parts of the seat back folded, there's an almost flat cargo area rated at 1,248 litres in size. Overall, there are signs that Ssangyong, which literally means double dragon, is really starting to get into its stride as a car maker here. And while we're literalising, we'll tell you that the name Korando is derived from the phrase Korea can do, which seems appropriate because a can-do attitude is fast establishing this growing manufacturer in Western markets like ours. We saw signs of that with the 2 SUVs that flank this one in the company's lineup, the smaller Tivoli and the larger Wrexham. But this car is the easiest Ssangyong to recommend that we've tested yet, and is a difficult option to ignore if you need a really capable car of this kind. You'll just have to get used to explaining to people what it is. And who knows, you might even end up suggesting that they try one.